When it comes to understanding who is Thoko Banda and why am I campaigning the way that I am campaigning, I have to say that Chuma Kuwantu is an Afrocentric ideology, one that puts the people at the center of policy, not putting political parties at the center of policy, not putting personalities at the center of policy. Now, as a starting point of my campaign design, which is a well thought through design, it is important that I don't mirror the template of the existing political parties whose template has failed Malawians. There is no Malawian who would argue against this. There is corruption embedded in society, and it begins with the campaign style. You cannot talk about ending corruption if you don't talk about running a corrupt-free campaign. So on one hand, corruption can be ended if you separate business ownership from state function, so that you're wary of candidates who are currently on bail on corruption charges. So that's in the background. What happens with the traditional Malawi campaign is that the norm is that first they buy journalists. They pay journalists to get airtime. They pay journalists to get interviews. They pay journalists for these press conferences and for these tours. I am not interested in buying journalists. If I want to take out a commercial, it will be indicated as a commercial. The politicians also buy clergy, pastors and priests. They also buy traditional leaders, TAs and GVHs and VHs. I'm not interested in buying my way to political office the way that the political parties do. They say it's just a normal way of operating, but I believe that this is where corruption begins. Secondly, they also try to corrupt the process of election through attending funerals. Pakakhala maliro amasangalala kwambiri kufa ndi mwayi wokachitira campaign. They corrupt the system by attending church services that they would never otherwise attend, just so that they can try and buy church communities through donations. This is bribery. This is the behavior of corrupt people even before they get into office. They also try to bribe citizens with cheap t-shirts, cheap zithe, cheap caps. They have conditioned citizens to think that a campaign is one where the citizen gets a free cap. Keep in mind something. If a campaign hands out 10,000 t-shirts, zithe, caps, that's the equivalent of between 50 million kwacha and 100 million kwacha. Now, what kind of clean politician is going to be able to pay 100 million kwacha for 10,000 t-shirts just to hand out? Imagine if they took 100 million kwacha in cash and they dished it out at rallies. This just must end. And I am not interested in participating in that kind of corruption from the get-go. They also corrupt the system by entertaining young people who are hungry, who have not worked in 5 and 10 years, who have no prospect currently of finding work, and young women, and older women too. So they bring people together for these, what they call campaign rallies. The people come to the rallies hungry, and they leave the rallies hungry. All they get is a t-shirt. They don't even get a bottle of water. This is a callousness, a cruelty of political leaders who are disconnected from their people. And finally, they promise Canaan. They promise everything that the people want to hear. Now, this is not the kind of campaign that I intend to run. Thoko Banda is a different kind of politician. If people don't want to vote for me, that's fine. They can reap the consequences of voting for politicians who have demonstrated that they don't care about you. So if you want to vote for a political party that has failed, that has exploited you, that has facilitated corruption all the way from Cashgate to now, if that's what the people want, then that's what the people want. But if the people want a new start with young, fresh ideas that can work and can change lives, then that is what I am here for. Juma Guantu.